20 miles southwest of Santa Fe, New Mexico, there is a hill where the ground drops several hundred feet off the edge of a volcanic mesa in less than 2 miles. And hanging on the face of that drop, still visible from Interstate 25, is a road with roughly 24 hairpin switchbacks, stacked one above another like a folded ribbon of stone. In the late 1920s, the highway department posted a sign at the top of it that read, "This road is not foolproof, but safe for a sane driver." That was the official safety messaging. On the main highway across America, at a place where the grades ran as steep as 15% on dirt, where cars with gravity-fed fuel tanks had to climb in reverse so gasoline could reach the engine, and where drivers who lost their nerve halfway down paid local men with mules to finish the job for them. The hill is called Labahada, Spanish for the descent, and from 1926 to 1932, it was U.S. Route 66. It has been abandoned for over 90 years. It is closed to vehicles, crumbling, strewn with boulders, and it is the road we are talking about today, because the story of why it was abandoned is one of the strangest in American highway history, involving 4 centuries of travelers, a furious governor, a ruler laid across a map, and an act of political revenge that redrew the mother road itself. To understand Labahada, you have to understand that this escarpment has been a problem for 400 years. The black basalt cliff separates 2 worlds, the high country of Santa Fe above, the Rio Grande Valley below, and everything moving between them has had to solve the same wall of rock. The Spanish solved it first, in 1598, when El Camino Real de Tierra Adentro, the royal road from Mexico City, came up this face, and travelers dreaded it for the next 2.5 centuries. American territorial wagon roads solved it again around 1860. In 1909, engineers carved a new alignment for the automobile age, the National Old Trails Highway, built with hand tools, local stone, and crews that included convict labor, its retaining walls dry-laid from the same basalt the road was cut through. And in 1926, when the federal government stitched its new numbered highway system together, and a Tulsa booster named Cyrus Avery got the number 66 hung on the Chicago to Los Angeles road, that road entered New Mexico and did something the modern mind finds baffling. It did not go straight. It swung north in a giant S-curve, from Santa Rosa up through Glorieta Pass into Santa Fe, then down Labahada's switchbacks to Albuquerque, then south to Los Lunas before finally bending west. 506 miles of Route 66, in a state that a straight line could cross in about 400. Politics drew that S-curve. Santa Fe was the capital, and capitals get highways. Then Santa Fe made an enemy. His name was Arthur T. Hannett, a combative trial lawyer, former mayor of Gallup, and Democratic governor of New Mexico, and in November 1926, he lost his re-election bid to a Republican sheep rancher named Richard Dillon. Hannett blamed the political machine known as the Santa Fe Ring, and he had 2 months left in office and the state highway department at his disposal. He summoned the state highway engineer, E.B. Bale, laid a map on the desk, put a ruler on it, and drew a straight line from Santa Rosa through Moriarty to Albuquerque, bypassing Santa Fe entirely. "Build it," he said, "before I leave office." What followed was 69 days of highway construction conducted like a military raid. Through the winter, crews cutting 27 miles of piñon forest near Moriarty, working through snow, while citizens loyal to the bypass towns fought back with sabotage, pouring sugar into the fuel tanks of the construction equipment and sand into the engines. That is not folklore. It is in the record. The road was not quite finished when Dillon took office in January 1927, and the new governor sent word to stop the work, but a snowstorm kept the message from reaching the crews in time, and the crews, who knew they were losing their jobs anyway and reportedly regarded the whole project as a magnificent joke, kept grading. The road went through. They called it Hannett's joke, and here is the pivot on which everything turns. The joke was also, by every engineering measure, correct. The straight line avoided Glorieta Pass, avoided the S-curve, and above all avoided Labahada, where the elevation problem between Santa Fe and the valley had been mangling automobiles for 2 decades. In 1932, the state pulled the highway off the old switchbacks to a gentler alignment 3 miles east, roughly where Interstate 25 runs today, and the hairpins fell silent after only 6 years as Route 66. Then the federal government, flush with New Deal road money, finished what Hannett had started out of spite. In 1937, Route 66 was formally realigned onto the straight east-west path through Moriarty and Tijeras Canyon, cutting New Mexico's mileage from 506 to 399, over 100 miles gone, 4 hours of driving gone, and Santa Fe gone with them, dropped from the most famous highway in America after just 11 years. The consequences sorted themselves by geography. Albuquerque, now sitting on the straightened Mother Road, watched its population triple as Central Avenue filled with motor courts and neon. Santa Fe, in the words of a state tourism veteran, went on being Santa Fe. But the small places on the old loop, the ranching settlements north of Santa Rosa, the village of Pecos, and the trading posts along the Rio Grande, watched their traffic simply stop coming. At Santo Domingo Pueblo, now Quewa, where families had sold pottery and jewelry to a river of passing motorists, a contemporary account described traders lining 50 miles of the old road. After 1937, the river dried up, and the historic trading post eventually closed and later burned. Nobody decided to end those livelihoods. Nobody held a vote on it. A man with a grudge held a ruler, and the ruler did the rest. Which brings us back to the hill, because the strangest part of this story is what abandonment did to Labahada. The 1932 and 1937 realignments did not destroy the switchbacks. They simply walked away from them, and a road that is walked away from in the New Mexico desert does not vanish. It fossilizes. The hand-laid basalt retaining walls from 1909 are still holding their grades. The hairpins are still stacked on the cliff face, overgrown and boulder-strewn, with the older scars of the territorial wagon road and the Camino Real braided alongside them, 4 centuries of descent preserved in 1 square mile of rock, enough history that the whole escarpment has been documented by the historic American engineering record and folded into national trail and preservation programs. So take the title of this video literally. Never drive this stretch, because you cannot and you should not. The old road is closed to public vehicles. The land around it belongs in part to the Pueblo communities, whose ancestors watched every one of those 4 roads get built, and the surface that was not foolproof in 1929 has had 90 additional years of rockfall, washout, and erosion added to it. This is one abandoned highway where the warning is not about your brakes but about your respect. What you can do is see it. Southbound on Interstate 25 out of Santa Fe, the freeway itself pours down the modern grade of Labahada, 6 lanes doing effortlessly what once took mules, and near exit 264 you can look west and pick out the old switchbacks hanging on the dark face of the mesa, impossibly thin, like something drawn on the rock rather than built into it. Stand at that distance and run the scale contrast. The descent that now costs you 90 seconds of coasting cost a 1928 family an hour of grinding first gear, boiling radiators and prayer, and cost the drivers before them, the freighters, the ox carts, the Spanish caravans, entire days. In 2026, Route 66 turns 100, and the celebrations will run along the post-1937 alignment, the neon of Central Avenue, the teepee motels of Tucumcari, the straight line that Hannett drew in anger, and history ratified as wisdom. Almost none of the centennial traffic will find its way to the base of a black mesa southwest of Santa Fe, where the first Route 66 still clings to the cliff it could never quite defeat, its stone walls laid by hands a century gone, its hairpins empty, its famous sign long vanished, and the hill it descends still doing the only thing Labahada has ever done, patiently, in every era, under every flag and every road number, which is to stand between the high country and the valley, and make everyone who passes pay the toll of the descent, and to outlast, one by one, every road that tries.